When I look back on my summers growing up, I think a lot about Rye, New Hampshire. That was the special place my family and I would often escape to for a few days. It was close to good seafood restaurants and the Hampton Beach Strip, plus it gave us ready access to what we really wanted, time near and in the ocean, often with a boogie board in hand. Special places like that can transcend generations for the people who visit and the people who run them. One such place is the Lake Paradox Club in the Eastern Adirondacks. We meet the fourth-generation owner on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Pearsall Wealth Management at UBS Wealth Management USA, subsidiary UBS AG, member FINRA SIPC, 1 Broad Street, Glens Falls.
Hi, I'm Kara Chapman. It's Thursday, August 21st. Up first, the Hawkins Point Visitor Center and Boat Launch in Messina will be closed tomorrow through Sunday for parking lot maintenance. The New York Power Authority says public access to the St. Lawrence River is still available at nearby facilities. Those include the Messina Intake, the Wilson Hill Boat Launch, and the Barnhart Island Marina Boat Launch. The Visitor Center is scheduled to resume normal operations at 9 a.m. Monday. The boat launch will also reopen that morning. A product made in St. Lawrence County has advanced to the Final Four of a state competition. Corning Ultra-Low Expansion, or ULE glass, is in the semifinal round of the State Business Council's Coolest Thing Made in New York contest. The glass was used to make an 11-foot-wide mirror that was installed onto the Vera C. Rubin Observatory in Chile. The ULE glass, which is manufactured in Canton, enables crystal-clear views of deep space. This week, the glass is up against blind-made copy paper manufactured by the Association for Vision Rehabilitation and Employment in Binghamton. The equipment used to make the paper enables 100% of the work to be performed by people who are blind or visually impaired. The winner of their matchup will go to the competition's final round. You can cast your vote through Sunday at maideny.org. The DEC's forest rangers had another busy week helping hikers find their way back to safety in the Adirondacks. They also encountered multiple brush fires in the Long Lake area. On the evening of August 15th, a forest ranger discovered a wildland fire on Big Island in Racket Lake. It was caused by a campfire and grew to 1/10 of an acre. Rangers got it under control. 2 days later, rangers were called to the side of Deerland Road in the town of Long Lake for another out-of-control campfire that had spread into the woods. Long Lake's fire department responded ahead of the rangers and extinguished the blaze. On Monday, rangers found a 21-year-old hiker who had fallen 20 to 30 feet down a slope by Rock Pond, not far from Putnam Pond. The hiker had multiple cuts but didn't show signs of a head injury. Rangers were able to walk the hiker out and took them by boat to Putnam Pond to meet family. Oneida County will receive more than $32 million in state funding to support an upcoming yogurt production facility. The funding will go toward making infrastructure improvements at the Triangle site at Griffith National Airport. That's the future home of Chobani's new $1.2 billion facility, which will make New York the nation's leading yogurt producer. Governor Kathy Hochul says having shovel-ready sites available for businesses can help give New York an edge over other states.
Time is money to businesses. If you can show that decisions are already made, this is where we'll accept business, welcome business, make sure the infrastructure is in place. That's how you get the advantage when we're competing all across the country.
The new Chobani plant is expected to employ 1,000 people. There's a series of summer cottages on a picturesque lake in the Eastern Adirondacks. They've hosted hundreds of families over many generations. They make up the Lake Paradox Club, a family-owned and operated cottage rental that's been in business for over 100 years. In today's North Country at Work story, we hear from the fourth-generation owner. Amy Feiereisel has more.
The through line of Kelly Waleski's childhood was her family's business on Paradox Lake. She spent every summer there, swimming in the lake and walking under the big white pines her great-grandfather had planted as hedges.
When I was a kid, they had grown up so tall that they covered all of the driveways.
She says that's a core memory for her.
Just being barefoot all the time and walking on the pine needles and it being soft and kind of squishy from the mud.
At that time, Waleski's grandmother, Helen Wildman, ran the cottage rental.
When I was 8, I already had jobs. I had to bail the boats. I had to rent boats to people. I had to clean cottages. And she did pay me, but it was, kid pay. She was grooming me. 100%. She won. She did. That's okay.
Waleski is the current owner and operator of the family business, which consists of 12 cottages of different sizes. Most of them were built by her great-great-grandparents. But this wasn't always Waleski's plan.
I said as a teenager I would never come back to the middle of nowhere. I wanted to have, a big girl job.
She worked at the Lake Paradox Club during her college summers, but then she went her own way. She ended up in Albany, working in the hospital services division of a large lab testing company.
And I was kind of working my way up, but I was at a desk all day, in a room with no windows.
Waleski's first son was also sick, and Waleski says she realized this wasn't the life she wanted for herself or her kids. But Paradox Lake was.
I think it's a really tight community, and I think you don't appreciate those kinds of things when you're a young teenager or a young adult and you're trying to make a bigger, brighter, fancier life for yourself. And that's when you kind of take a step back and realize where your roots are and what's important.
So she and her husband, Jess, moved their family back north in 2013 and back to the cottage rental business. She says Jess was the ideal partner for the venture.
He fit perfectly. He is kind of a jack of all trades, can do a lot of things, which is so beneficial because he can kind of do all of the maintenance.
When Waleski's grandmother, Helen Wildman, passed away in 2022, she officially took over the business. And today, it's run much in the way it has been for a century. The high season is late June through late September. The cottages are rented by the week, and they don't have television or Wi-Fi access.
I do their bills in person. Usually Friday nights I go and I do their bills. My kids come along sometimes.
There aren't so many businesses like the one you're running left in the world, are there?
No, I think a lot more are modernized. I've tried to modernize some of it.
For instance, she made the transition from her grandmother's handwritten ledger sheets to an online payroll company. But the work is pretty much the same as it's always been. Overall upkeep, renting boats to guests, and constantly being on hand to solve problems.
We have 12 houses. Something's going to go wrong. A hot water heater is going to break. A refrigerator is going to go bad. It's just the microwave stops working. They need more forks.
Waleski says luckily their guests are pretty gracious, and she's known many of them her whole life.
Most of our business, I would say 90% of it maybe, is all returning families. They started coming when they were babies, and now they're grandparents, and they bring their grandchildren.
Because childcare is scarce in the Adirondacks, Waleski says her kids are getting a similar experience to the one she had. They're living in the family business, and just like her, they have their summer cottage friends.
The friends they only get to see for a week every year, but it's like nothing even happened.
The world has changed a lot since her great-great-grandmother started this business, but vacation in the Lake Paradox Club sort of hasn't. Waleski says the magic is that so many people have the same memories made over so many decades.
I have those, even though I was working it a lot, but every summer we still swam in the lake and swam to the raft and went on boats out on the lake and ate lunch on the porches and played baseball on the field. That didn't change.
They say you can never really go home again, but at the Lake Paradox Club, Waleski says she did. For North Country Public Radio's North Country at Work project, I'm Amy Feiereisel.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Eddie Lawrence of Saranac Lake and Evan Veenstra of Gananoque, Ontario. I'm Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.